accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being broadcast live over the Lunenburg Public Access channel. The Zoom link is in the agenda, as is the meeting ID number. This meeting will be broadcast live through the local access cable channel and the public access Facebook page with the address in the agenda, and will be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours of the meeting. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. Why do I now sound like Darth Vader? Is it okay?
Don't breathe deeply.
Okay. So the first thing is, we've done the call to order, now we do Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there anyone here who'd like to make a public comment about prior issues raised before the school committee? So just come on up and introduce yourself and state your address.
Hi, my name is Nancy Charbonneau, and I live at 170 Arbor.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight, and first I just want to say thank you for...
Oh, press the button on your microphone. Sorry.
Is it green?
Is that better now?
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, and thank you for the work that you do for the Lunenburg students. I'm here tonight as a concerned resident, based on my experience with my son when he was in the elementary school and based on the reading levels that were included in the 2024-2026 primary school improvement plan. I think it'd be important for parents and community members to receive an update on the current reading levels of our kindergartners, first and second graders. As we know, strong reading skills are tied to academic success. It's essential for students to learn these skills early on in their academic career, as they'll be needed when tackling more challenging vocabulary and concepts in middle and high school. I am not asking these questions to be critical of the elementary school teachers. When my son particularly was in elementary school, the teachers were amazing and they communicated with me often and did whatever they could to help my son learn the skills that he needed. On November 24th, I sent an email to the superintendent, to the chair and the vice chair, requesting an update on the current reading levels of the kindergartners, first and second graders be addressed at the next school committee meeting. I included questions in my email that I asked to be read into the record at the next school committee meeting. Will these questions be read at tonight's meeting or at a future meeting?
That will happen at a future meeting, and the reason it will happen at a future meeting is because in January we'll have updated data to present to you to give you more of an overall picture of what's happening using our internal assessment data.
Okay, that's great. Is it possible to get an update after year one? So it would have been like, not necessarily now, but like, would it be possible to get an update of year one of the improvement plan, which would have been, I guess, June or so of the year?
We can definitely have our principals provide an update on their school improvement plans.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Nancy, thank you so much for coming.
Supporting.
Thank you, everybody, for coming, and Nancy, thank you so much for your email.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments about prior issues? No one online? All right, then let's go to chair's report. I have no chair's report, so let's go to student representative report. We have no student representative, so let's go to review and approve minutes from the regular session on 10/15/25.
I didn't get a chance to review those. Can we push those off
Yep.
next time?
Let's push them off until next meeting. And that gives us to number 7, review and approve line item transfers, warrants, and donations. So warrants, we have 1117 to 12/1, $240,518.56. I don't think we have any line item transfers, so this is just a normal process. We do not need to vote on this, correct?
Nope.
Okay. Next, we have superintendent's report.
We have
No, we have
donations.
two donations.
Oh, we have 2 donations.
We
Oh,
have 2
sorry.
donations.
All right.
So to the Lunenburg Primary School via the Hannaford Helps program, we have a donation in the amount of $600. And the intended purpose and use of these funds are for primary school field trips and presentations.
All right, so I'm looking for a motion to accept the donations.
Motion to accept the Hannaford Helps donations for the middle school and the primary. Did you want to do both of them?
We can do both of them.
Okay, middle school and the primary with our gratitude.
Oh,
second.
would you like me to read the middle school one? what it's
Sure.
intended for?
Yes, let's do it.
The middle school one is $483, and it's for middle school student programming.
Excellent.
Okay.
So I'm going to sign this. Oh,
You gotta say all in favor.
all in favor of accepting donations?
Aye. Yes.
All right, there we go. And I will send this down for signatures
Now-
while we do the superintendent's report.
Okay. So I'd like to begin by saying, so it snowed. I want to start by acknowledging that for the convenience of families who need to rearrange schedules, the night before snow call is the gold standard. I endeavor to make that decision the evening prior whenever the forecast provides sufficient information to do so.
Next one.
However, when Mother Nature decides to be ambiguous, I enter what is easily the most glamorous part of my job, the 4 a.m. snow call. I truly love serving as the superintendent in Lunenburg, but the agony of the snow day decision is the one part of the role that qualifies as the worst. The process usually involves consuming an inadvisable amount of coffee while staring at multiple weather maps that seem to disagree with one another out of spite. I consult with the regional superintendents, huddle with my leadership team, and then stare at some maps some more. This particular storm was challenging because the timing and accumulation totals shifted by the hour. Ultimately, even though I knew we could likely get students to school, I was concerned about the return trip. My decision came down to a simple calculation. I did not want buses rolling and our youngest drivers on the road as the storm intensified. For every decision made, there are a dozen rejected scenarios. Do I call a delay and then pivot to a closure? Do I call an early release? Each option creates disruption for families. In this case, I chose to err on the side of caution. I decided I would much rather endure a few I told you so's regarding a lost day of school than risk the safety of a single student or staff member. The 2-hour delay. When I checked with our facilities team at 4:30 a.m. this morning, they indicated they needed more time to clear the campuses to safely receive students. They had been in since 3:30 this morning. I generally dislike calling delays because I know they wreak havoc on family schedules, but I had to listen to the experts on the ground. And there's a silver lining and a hiccup. The return to school went smoothly with one exception regarding a miscommunication about the extended day program policy during delays. However, this provided a wonderful silver lining. While we sorted out the confusion, Mr. Yvonne, Jesse Walker, Patty Gillette McCarthy, and I held down the fort. I ended up spending an hour simply playing with kids. It turns out that covering a scheduling gap was the highlight of my week so far. It doesn't get any better than that. For future knowledge, extended day does not run on the morning on days when there is a 2-hour delay. We got to remember that. I share these details tonight to ensure the committee and the community know the level of thought, care, and caffeine that goes into these decisions. We may not get every single logistical detail perfect every time, but the goal is always the safety and well-being of our students. Our spotlight on excellence. As you know, these past weeks have been heavily weighted with administrative responsibilities, requiring quite a bit of preparation for both the tri-board meeting and tonight's meeting, as well as the Thanksgiving holiday occurring. Unfortunately, that meant I wasn't able to get into our classrooms as much as I liked to witness the daily magic of teaching and learning. However, since we last met, I was present at 2 profound experiences that served as perfect reminders of exactly why we do this work. I had the privilege of attending the National Honor Society induction at the high school. It was a poignant ceremony rich with tradition. As I watched the students light their candles, each flame representing the pillars of service, character, leadership, and scholarship, I found myself suddenly transported back to my own induction. Witnessing this new generation embrace these ideals gave me a deep sense of awe at the continuity of excellence we are fostering here. That inspiration continued right into Friday morning at the middle school honor roll breakfast. There's truly no better way to start the day, maybe other than playing with kids, than seeing the beaming smiles of all of our 7th and 8th graders who made honor roll. What struck me most was seeing many of the same families on Friday morning that I had just seen the night before at the high school. It really highlighted this community's unwavering dedication to supporting scholarship and character at every stage. Witnessing that trajectory, from eager middle schoolers to the polished leaders of the Honor Society, reaffirmed my pride in Lunenburg, and it is a privilege to play a part in their journey. And our finance update, year-to-date expenditures currently stand at 41.9% of the FY26 appropriation. We are anticipating a potentially significant reclassification at our next meeting, which could raise the current year-to-date spending to approximately 42.2%. We will provide more information on this potential reclassification at our next meeting. Given that we are close to the end of the quarter, 42.2% spent would continue to leave us in a healthy financial position. I'd also like to introduce the committee, since you have not had a chance to meet her, to Dr. Kimberly Safdie, who is our new Director of Teaching and Learning. I invite Kimberly to come up and introduce herself and the committee to ask any questions that they may have of Dr. Safdie.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, welcome
Thank
to
you so
Lunenburg.
much.
This is your first week?
It's my first week, so technically this is my third day, but yesterday was a snow day. I did get all of my mandatory training done, so that was great. But no, it's been wonderful so far, and I kind of just jumped right in. Jody has been great in terms of, bringing me around, introducing me to different people, and the rest of the team has been great too. And so I just jumped into a report card meeting today, met with the folks at the primary school. Tomorrow I'll be attending a PLC and just gonna, I guess, do what I do.
It's amazing. Thank you for joining us. And Dr. Fortuna spoke very highly of you, so look forward to you working with our students and our teachers.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
I also want to thank Dr. Fortuna. My kids got to spend an hour with her this morning at Before School Care, and she got rave reviews. She lets them punt without their shoes on, so apparently that is not a rule.
Actually, the shoe fell off during the punt.
Hey, they were all in, so.
It was a lot of fun. I showed them what a bad basketball player I am.
Did you miss that conversation?
Are you all set?
I am all set.
Oh,
That is the
wow.
end of my
All
superintendent's
right.
report.
So we are moving at a brisk pace, George.
Thank you.
I'm gonna bring this home in 75 minutes. Initial approval of France and Switzerland trip.
Good evening.
Yep, press the
Green.
button.
Yeah, there you go.
Green makes sense. Hi, I'm Jessica Eyre. I am the French teacher and sometimes Spanish teacher. One of the Spanish teachers at the high school. I'm department head as well of the World Language Department. Thank you so much for taking the time to hear my proposal, and thank you to Dr. Fortuna and Liz Peterson for being extremely prompt when I submitted materials to them. So thank you so much. This is exciting for me. I traveled extensively with students basically since I was hired in Lunenburg over 20 years ago. In about 2019, I became tired. It's an exhausting undertaking that entails a lot more than what might be perceived as a free trip for a teacher. I would definitely prefer to travel on my own and explore things on my own. And so when the magic started to fade a little bit, I need to take a step back. But I'm ready to undertake it again. I think one of the most magical things to do as a teacher of world language is to take students to the country where it's spoken and see their first experiences firsthand and the lights that turn on for them as their learning becomes concrete. And so I'm extremely excited. I have traveled probably over 15 times. I actually haven't counted, to Canada and Europe with students. And so this trip would be to France and to Switzerland, which is also a French-speaking country, multilingual. And we would spend a few days in Paris and then head to Strasbourg, which is on the border with Germany. And so you see a lot of German influence culturally on that region. And from there, we would go into Switzerland. And some highlights that I've already showed you in a lot of the materials I've presented, but some highlights are the Red Cross Museum in Switzerland, and the Olympic Museum, as well as many of the cultural masterpieces that are located in Paris. And then just the experiences of taking a train, a high-speed train for the first time. And one component, I'm not sure if you saw it in the itinerary, that is new for me would be a dinner with French families while in Paris. And this is sort of my little toe in the water of what might it be like for students to maybe do an exchange in the future. I'm not quite ready for that yet, but this would be an opportunity for them to have authentic conversations with Parisians in their home and try home-cooked Parisian food, see what the inside of a home looks like. The families are vetted by the company with all the proper CORI paperwork, et cetera. And so I think that that's going to be extremely exciting for students. The trip would be for 2027, April. It seems like a very long time away, but this allows parents to begin payments on a monthly basis, which I think at this point would be about $350 per month leading up to the trip. It is expensive. I will admit that 100%. And I also will admit that it's not an opportunity that's available to all students. And having been one of those students myself, I still believe in the value of travel. I think it can even plant the seed for future travel for students when they see what some of their classmates have done and what they've experienced. I can't tell you, I can't emphasize enough to you how important I think travel is for all students, not even just world language students. I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have or anything that I have not explained thoroughly to you. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but go ahead.
How many students would be going and how would they be chosen?
So historically, we have been discouraged from really talking up a trip with our classes prior to school committee approval. So all my students know at this point is I'm going before the schools committee for a trip. I haven't even asked for a show of hands as to how many students are interested. A minimum of 20 students would be required for us to run this particular trip so that we're not either sacrificing some of the itinerary or being combined with other schools. Both scenarios I have done before, and neither is ideal. So I would prefer that this be 100% Lunenburg students and that we get the itinerary that we've planned for. If we get under 20 students, the alternative would be that the price goes up, or we become flexible with our itinerary, or we become flexible with combining with other schools. So maximum, I would never go over one bus of students when in Europe. So that's depending on the type of bus, 30 to 40 students is the maximum I would ever bring.
So what if there's that interest? then how would you pick who gets to go and who
The
doesn't?
first ones to sign up. I would be shocked if there were more than that many students. I haven't seen a trip perhaps ever where we've gone over one bus. But
And is it only open, like, are there kids that maybe can't afford it that would be up for going, or do they have to be able to pay that $350 up until the trip to be able to be?
they would have to be able to pay the amount of the trip. The alternative to that is to increase the price for other students. If we could, document their own free and reduced lunch and they should have a lower price on the trip, somebody else would have to pay for that. So that would either come in budgetary, putting that in our budget, or it would be placing that burden on other students, the cost of that.
This is a really expensive trip.
It's actually about the same cost as previous trips that we've had coming out of.
Spain was 3,190. Greece was about 5K around this.
Right.
What happens if a student can't afford to go?
They can't go.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to remind you that this is not a situation where we're taking 2 weeks off from school and it's something that's a vital piece of our curriculum. This is something that is an extension. We're paying $325 per student per sport right now in Lunenburg, and that's a huge lift for some families. I don't know if my own son will be able to attend this trip.
What do you mean we're paying the 325 is?
The athletic
Parents
fee.
are playing.
Oh, okay.
The athletic
There's
fee per
waivers for
sport.
kids that can't afford that.
I guess we're talking about high school students, probably many of whom will be juniors and seniors, and they're going to have some really big real-world decisions before them about where to attend college, and a lot of those decisions are going to come down to finances. And it's an unfortunate thing, but we live in a society that unfortunately not all opportunities are open to everyone, and it's heartbreaking, and I was one of those students too, and I dreamed about going to France, and I did, and became a French teacher. But this is an opportunity for students when they travel, and it's during their vacation, and it's not something that is embedded in the curriculum. So it's not like a student who's in my class is going to miss some important piece that they're going to be tested on. This is more of it's a supplemental offering that we're providing to students.
I don't know why I raised my hand.
The same thing.
It's like, you can call on me.
Teacher energy.
Yeah, definitely have the teacher vibe. I think that like one of the things that school committee has historically been concerned with is the equity of trips like this. I think that it is very difficult for me to think of a reason why this trip would be a bad idea. Like, I think that giving people the chance to go see a different culture, especially the idea of eating dinner with an actual Parisian family, like those kind of experiences change people's lives. Like, I remember being in grad school and, I went to a grocery store with somebody who was from Ghana, and they had never been to a Sam's Club, and just listening to him like talk about like how different it was. And like I would have been the equivalent of like the person hosting somebody. And that had a really profound impact on me. So I could only imagine what it would have been like to be the other way around. So I think these questions are not aimed at you specifically or the trip specifically. I think it's just a general concern about equity. But as far as the value of this, the pedagogy behind it, I think, especially because it's coming from you, it is beyond question.
I guess all over the country, there are trips that occur in language classes. And I can say with almost 95% certainty that this is not part of a budget and that parents are paying for these trips and they're not required.
Oh, yeah, we
This is an opportunity.
Yes.
And it is, can everyone participate? No, I couldn't either when I was in high school. But I guess my question to you would be, does that mean it shouldn't be offered to anyone? Should we take that off the table then?
I don't think that's fair either.
Other than be very sensitive to that and propose it, when I propose it, say, I do understand that I was one of those students that couldn't go on a trip like this when I was your age. And to not make it a huge part when we get back, other than to highlight some incredible experiences, but not say, oh, you didn't get to do this or you didn't get to do that, to do so in a very caring, sensitive way that you remind students that this is something they could dream to do later.
Yeah.
If that's something that the school committee needs to think about, I understand. But, the biggest question is, if something is fundamentally inequitable as a supplementary activity, does that mean we shouldn't offer it at all? And I can recall being in the 4th grade and not being able to play band because my family couldn't rent an instrument. And in my heart of hearts, I wanted to play an instrument all my life. And when I turned 30, I got a piano. I guess, I think the scale is immense. The difference between an instrument and a $5,000 trip is incredible. But when we look at all the things that we're asking our students to do, there's a lot, or our families to do, I should say, there's a lot of add-ons that you might even argue are essential. This is not essential. I'm not saying that this is an essential piece of their education. This is a wonderful enrichment experience that unfortunately does cost a lot of money.
So I very much appreciate you putting this together. It's an immense amount of work. And I very much appreciate how amazing it must be to be their French teacher and take them to France and see them there for the first time. My issue is how much we're perpetuating inequity. And either it's a school trip because it backs up the program and it's an essential thing to do, or it's an extra that only the rich kids get to go on and we're okay with the inequity. But I don't see how we can have it both ways, where this is an essential thing that the school should be behind, and sorry, kids, you can't afford to go. I guess that's just life. You're going to have to learn to make tough choices. I'm uncomfortable with the school being behind that, and the price of these trips it's a lot, and we're doing them every year. It's not an every other year. It's not a, we're doing these, and the kids in high school, they get 4 times they get to know they're not affording this. It's every year, and it's a lot of money, and I know this isn't, the Galapagos trip got very expensive, but this is,
How much is the Galapagos trip?
I think it ended up like
8,000?
7 or 8.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Did you say this would be offered to all grade levels, 9 through 12, or is it a specific grade level?
Historically, the World Language Department we believe so strongly in travel that we open it up to everyone 9 through 12. And
So there is the potential that every year someone could not be able to do one of these trips, I think, correct?
correct.
I'm struggling with the equity piece a little bit.
Dr. Fortuna, can you give us some insights on how this is viewed by the administration? By the way, please do not take this as us busting your chops. You could be literally anybody. All of these trips are expensive. I cannot state enough on the record how much respect I have for you.
I want to just remind, I just want to let you know, I guess, not remind the school committee, let you know that oftentimes I have been asked by parents, do you ever go to France? Do you ever go to France? Do you ever go to France? And my answer, if the school committee starts saying no to these kinds of questions, will be no, because our school committee doesn't support travel.
So,
Or because they don't believe I could respond, it's not equitable to all
I
students.
think that's more fair.
Yeah,
'Cause it's not that we don't support
I
the.
absolutely
Me personally, it's not that I don't support the trip. I'm worried about the kids that can't afford that over and over and over again and don't get that experience. And I completely understand your perspective as well. I'm just trying to balance the two, and it's kind of hard in my brain right now.
I think one of the benefits of, no, the trip is very beneficial. I think one of the benefits of offering a trip every year is that parents know it's coming. And when I was in high school, I knew from my freshman year that in my senior year we would be doing an exchange program in England. And I had a job, I saved, I worked, my parents saved, they worked. Their agreement with me was that they would pay for half the trip and I would pay for half the trip through working. And it taught me a lot of skill and, believe it or not, financial management, because I had to make no decisions to other things that I had in my life or that I wanted in my life in order to be able to realize this dream. And the fundamental inequity is something that I feel deeply, having grown up for most of my life as living in poverty. But I also think to take this opportunity away and this choice away from families is inequitable as well. That's my 2 cents on this.
I would agree with Jody. Because at the end, I'm a little bit, I have a different frame of mind, so I apologize if it comes out. That not everything in life is equitable. And we have students that excel at sports and play other traveling teams and things like that because they're really good. Not everybody gets to do that. Not because they can't afford it, but they're not good enough to do it. There's going to be times that hey, I missed out on that opportunity. Mom and dad couldn't afford it. I mean, this is going to happen in their life. They're going to grow up and their neighbors are going to go on trips together and they couldn't go because they just don't have the money this year to go. I think the things in life aren't always fair. I do understand that it's a school-backed thing, so that kind of adds to that, which gives me pause because of what Laura's saying and Emily's saying. But I just feel like these things come up. It's not everything we can do can always be. It's available to everybody, but not everybody may be able to go, whether it's because they can't travel, or they don't have the money, or they have a medical condition, or it's just not feasible for their family to do it at that time. There's a lot of reasons why it's not. You could consider it not equitable, right? But if we did that, you wouldn't do anything. There'd be no trips. There'd be no sports. There'd be no music class. There'd be no. I mean,
We provide financial help for students who can't afford it, so that
For sports.
for sports, for after
yeah,
school.
but you don't provide.
Virtually.
You can't provide a child who's not physically capable of playing football to play football.
But we should. Sorry, don't get me started.
Should, but they're going to get
Don't get
hurt.
me started.
Can I just, so I have mixed feelings. I'm fine supporting it moving forward, but I would like us to talk about this as it pertains to Nature's Classroom and Washington DC in comparison, because to me, those are core to what we are doing as a school. And there are a lot of kids who aren't going on those trips because of the money and the financial situation. And so I know my brain works in weird ways, like that is related to this to me, that if we are doing better on those other things, I don't feel so unequitable about this, right? But if there are kids who aren't going to Nature's Classroom and aren't going on to the DC trip because they can't afford it, and then they can't go on this trip 4 years in a row, which is nothing to do with you or world languages or anything like that, I think that is a problem for me. So, so I'm happy supporting this, for this, or we can wait, whatever you guys want to do. But I would like the school committee to address, because I've heard a lot of complaints about the DC trip and the price. And to me, that is a core thing this school district needs to offer. Other school districts, kids pay $200 to go because they fundraise, they do lots of other different things, and they have 100% participation. I know 2 schools in the area where there are teachers that, I have friends who are teachers there, and they have 100% participation, and we're very, very close. And my understanding is that is not true here. So not really related to that trip, but I think we need to think about this as a package of things that we're offering our students.
I think that's an excellent idea, Mandy. What I would like to actually see us do is kind of take a long-term planning approach to our European trip so that we have a 4-year outline of what we anticipate doing so that children know. But I think we should also wrap it up into the whole package of these overnight field trips, Nature's Classroom, Washington, D.C., so that our families are more aware and aren't taken by surprise when these opportunities are offered, and that they can make the financial arrangements if necessary, or we can discuss fundraising for these trips and things like that. I
Yeah.
agree with what you're saying.
I agree. Thank you very much.
So I'm going to say one more thing, and then we'll go down and see if anybody has anything else to say. So I want to make 2 points. Number one, this is not a vacation. This is a chance to travel with an absolutely peerless subject matter expert who can tell them things and explain things in a way that very few other people could. It is not going on a vacation. You are going with Ms. Eyre, who will tell you everything you ever wanted to know.
Site, not
Yeah,
just.
well, they're fine, but they're not you. The second thing I want to point out is I do think that there is an equity issue. But when I was 12 years old, I wanted nothing more than a Sega Genesis. No one would buy me a Sega Genesis. My parents hated video games, and I had no income. And so I got a job as a paperboy, and I rode a country paper route that ended up being about 4.5 miles every night, even when it was dark out. And I got, after a year, enough money to buy a Sega Genesis. The Sega Genesis in real-time money today would have cost over $500. So for a 12-year-old kid who had only a paper route, it was almost a year of work. And if you're planning this trip for 2027, I do think that it's realistic to imagine scenarios where parents kick in some money and kids work and kick in some money. And so having this trip as an aspiration might be something that motivates kids to go out into the world and earn a little money and understand the value of money, in addition to getting to go on a world-class trip with a world-class expert. So for that reason, understanding the equity and the cost, I would still be in support of it. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to say before we take a vote?
I would like to say that this is my 3rd time going through this on the school committee, and every year we ask the people planning the trip, who I recognize is not you every year, to please keep cost in mind. And every year it's increased, other than the Galapagos trip, which had other factors. But every year it's increased.
I can address that if you'd like.
Well, I know that's life.
everything
It's
increases,
just,
huh?
it would be nice.
Well, it's beyond that too. It's that it also has to do with the companies that you choose as well. And I've traveled with probably 6 different companies, and the company that Mrs. York uses is the one that I'm using. It's the only company that I've ever had a trip with where there hasn't been some kind of major issue where we've had to change a hotel because it was of subpar, or not have horrible food that is, chicken tenders and French fries while traveling. So it is not the cheapest company that we choose, but we choose this because they deliver a quality experience and an incredible educational experience. so that students don't go home and say, you know, there were stains on the rug in the hotel room where we stayed. I did not use that company ever again. Almost like you get what you pay for. And the other piece is, as you all know, prices on everything have just skyrocketed, and the same is true for traveling. And I actually, we all pay attention very much to the price, and there was a lot of negotiation between me and the company as to the price to make sure it stayed under $5,000, and they removed a weekend surcharge because I was like, it just cannot be. It cannot be. And I love this trip as it is, but it cannot. And so it's not that we haven't heard you. We have heard you loud and clear, and I absolutely knew that this issue was going to come up. And I can't change the reality that Mr. Yap just discussed, because it is true that it's not going to be available to all families. And there's, but it is an incredibly enriching experience that is unlike any kind of family vacation that you would do.
Yeah, on one hand, I'm so uncomfortable with how inequitable this is and how we're fostering that as a school. It's a school-sanctioned example in real time of inequity in students. At the same time, there are many students whose families will not be able to travel to Europe, but the students can do it through you. And so that's why I'm going to be a yes on this, because I think it will enable students who in other circumstances would not be able to do this in a safe way through the school with their French teacher in a way that would not be possible with your family. But I am very nervous about the cost, and I wish we could figure out more ways to mitigate the cost. I, too, in high school, did a domestic trip where it's working an apple orchard to pay half, because that was the deal. It's just, even half is so much.
It is.
I will say they the company provides a website where each student can have their own individual page to fundraise, so they can send it to, families and friends as a way to try to get help for the costs of the trip that they would control on their own. I have in the past done fundraising for trips, and I have to unfortunately tell you that the most I think anyone ever got off of their trip was like $50.
Yeah, it's not.
It's just not, it doesn't put a dent in what is required for this trip. Bake sales and car washes and Uno's, dinner at Uno's with a portion going to, I've done it all. And so it's just not an effective use of time for students.
Okay. And this is not an attack on you. I appreciate so much, and I am really jealous of being able to go and see your students see the language spoken natively. I think that must be an amazing experience, and this is a lot of work. This is not a vacation for you, not fun. So I very much appreciate the amount of work and extra effort this takes to put together for our students. Again, I'm very uncomfortable with the cost, but I'm still going to be yes, because it does enable students who might not normally be able to do it to go.
So anybody else have any comments we want to make?
Better not. No, I'm good.
All right.
Do we need to, is this an action item?
Yes.
All right. Looking for a motion?
A motion to
Motion to approve the trip.
the trip.
Yes.
It'll come back before you with more details into later.
I believe it's like between 3 months and 1 month before departure, I come back to you to give you an update on number of students, et cetera.
So, motion.
Well, I make a motion.
Okay,
Yep.
second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Emily?
All opposed?
You can say no, yeah.
I was going to abstain. Can I do that?
You can oppose.
Thank you so
Peter
much.
traditionally would always just vote no.
Yes, Peter would.
Voting present.
We discussed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time. Thank you for your
Please
consideration.
do not take any of this as a criticism of you.
I wish I could change the reality of the cost. I really wish I could. And
Photos from the trips when they're done. Like,
No,
I never get
no.
to hear about it.
Now let them do their thing.
No,
They don't
I
want to
wanna
have
know,
people
like,
watching
how it
them.
was.
The kids don't like.
I don't-
we've come before to, it's been a while, but, and presented to the school committee after the trip to just show
don't
you
have
some of
to.
the things.
What
And
is
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to know how it was.
I meant
'cause I
the-
feel like they go on these trips and then,
It can be life-changing, and I think that, I appreciate very much your decision, very much, and I think it's worthwhile.
Thank you.
Thank
Send
you.
us a postcard.
Yes.
Okay, the old fashioned.
You guys want to listen to stories about goofballs in the hotel room or
Yes.
my son's best friend eating 17
no.
chicken nuggets
I
at
just need a picture of
one
the Eiffel
time?
Tower. I just need a picture of all them
Okay,
at the
okay,
tower.
okay.
I want to know what they're.
I want to.
We don't have a winter athletics report.
All right. Winter athletics report has been removed from the
Aw.
docket.
Will we get that next?
It'll be at our next meeting.
Okay.
The
I was looking forward to that one.
26-27 school calendar.
I'm going to invite Liz to the table because I'm not even going to pretend that I drafted this myself.
never comes before us.
I just approved it.
Yeah, Liz.
And I think the person that did all the work should get the credit.
Did we count the days this time?
No one has ever got it correct
No,
the first
1
time.
year.
Not one.
1 year we got it. And I would like to thank the 2 years that we had a parent sit there and count out the days and point it out before it
I
became.
don't
an issue.
remember that. Yeah.
So let me just say as a disclaimer here, a couple of things. First of all, this is the first draft, so don't worry about that. Typically, what happens is for the new members, we bring this draft forward first, and then we send it to the LEA. We send it to the principals to bring to their school councils for feedback. And then we also post it on the website for feedback as a draft. So we'll have definitely feedback from different people before you approve this. I don't know if you've taken a look at it yet or not. I did want to say that there were some formatting issues, so you probably will see, I'll just give an example. On December, you'll see the highlighted portions from 23 all the way till 29, but not 30 and 31, so that's a formatting issue. And 23, for some reason, it would not do the half-day, so I still need to work on some of the formatting of this. But like I said, it is a draft. It's just a first draft. So,
Are you doing sheets? Is this a sheet or is this Google Sheets?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So,
the question I have, Liz, is they're going to be off essentially from the 23rd to the 4th.
they'll have a half-day on the 23rd.
Yeah.
If you accept this version
yeah.
of the calendar. A half-day on the 23rd all the way until the 4th, yes.
Okay. So the 30th and the 31st in December should be blue.
Yes,
And that's what you just
She's
explained.
still
to us.
yes.
wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure I understood.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they do go 2.5 days that week, which I think is good in
That's-
December.
Is that the longest the break gets?
No, sometimes
No.
it's 2 whole weeks.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
so-
ridiculous.
We
No, there
passed
have
on
been
that
years where
this
we have had,
2 whole weeks?
yeah.
Yeah, that would have been this.
This year, we thought about it, but then we decided that was too long for kids to go without
Yes, and my children were mad at me.
regular food if they rely on the schools for food.
This year we have Monday off.
yeah,
No, we have school
I'm mad
Monday
at
and a half
myself
day
for that one.
Tuesday, I think.
This is a lot of work. Thank you, Liz.
Sure.
Is there anything that kind of tripped you up or made you have to think hard, like that Labor
Well-
Day is not until the 7th?
Yes, that's what I was going to mention. I talked to Jody all about that, because Labor Day typically isn't that late.
Oh, yeah, it's
So,
late, huh?
right.
7th.
So what we decided was that normally we would go a week earlier in August, but because of that, we're starting on the 31st. So the 31st will be the first day back for staff, and that will be a PD day. And then the kids will start on the 1st. And then they'll go for the 3 days and then have typically, like we always do, the Friday off and the Monday off is what will happen. And then pre-K and kindergarten always in the last, I would say, 3 to 4 years have started a week later.
Yeah.
So now they'll start on the 14th if you accept this version of the calendar.
So they'll start 2 weeks later than the rest of us?
The fourth.
It works out to about a week, just because of the 7th being the
7 days,
Labor
so
Day.
like a weekend.
Right,
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
exactly.
I love the long
Travel a
weekend
little more, but-
for Labor Day. That extra long
2
weekend.
weeks, is that what you said?
I like the new color-coded calendar this year, too.
Yeah, I think it's much easier when you color code things like this. I mean, I could color code it more if you wish.
No,
No,
but,
this
yeah.
is basic and it's nice.
three colors are plenty, white, blue, and green.
Back when it was black and white and that weird shading, my daughter one time took a pencil and very carefully colored in the day and had us
I love that.
convinced that it was a day off of school because she did such a good job and the
That is
shading looked
amazing.
exact.
That is great.
I had
That's
to look at-
terrific.
It was right there, yeah. So I really like the color coding because that's harder.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that you thought required,
Nothing else really, except when you get to the end of the calendar.
Yeah.
Well-
The way that we had to do it is, so the 15th now would be the 180th day of school.
Okay.
Which puts it the 185th at the 22nd. But very rarely have we had an instance where we've had to utilize the 5 days because of snow.
You can't-
Or inclement weather.
next year's winter for us.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But that was the only thing that really stood out.
Would we be in danger of, when do we have graduation?
We
The
have-
5th.
It would be the 5th, yep.
So is it 12 calendar days or 12 school days that we have to watch out for?
It's 12 calendar days,
Ooh, okay.
yeah.
So,
And that's why it's the 25th,
Wow.
would be the last day for seniors.
Basically.
okay, so that would be, how many snow days would it take before we'd have to move graduation?
It would be 5,
So if there were more than 5 school days next year, we'd have to move graduation?
Yes.
Which is not a huge deal, but also is in this.
Yes.
It's not cool,
right.
No, it would be in any time.
just for families and stuff.
If parents are used to it being the
Yes,
first
first
Sunday.
Saturday, yeah.
My high
Saturday.
school, we graduated on the last day of school, and if there were snow days, it just kept bumping out.
Gee. I didn't go to my graduation.
Okay, and then, all right,
Done.
and then we'll clean up the fonts, so it's all one font again.
All right.
This is great.
So the
Thank
next
you.
iteration of this, once we send it out, we should have feedback from the principals for open houses and for PD days and all of those types of things. So the next draft that we bring back, I will include all of that as well.
Awesome.
So then you'll see that.
Oh, and we don't run into the Juneteenth issue either.
Nope.
Right,
Yes.
because it falls on a weekend.
Oh, okay, we don't, that's not an observed holiday?
No. No, if it falls on a weekend, we don't have to observe it within a school day.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Do we have to, is this an action item?
I believe.
Perfect. Thank you, Liz, I appreciate this.
You're welcome.
As always, delightful. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
Just moving right along.
Yeah, all right. Discussion item, Leaf. Let's go.
We're gonna be quick. I don't have any speeches planned or anything.
She didn't bring a PowerPoint.
I didn't bring a PowerPoint. I bought flyers.
I love it.
Okay, so I'm here to give you guys an update. About a year ago, I came before this committee and the select board to talk about an idea that I and some other parents and neighbors have had about starting an education foundation in our town. Ed foundations are very common throughout the Commonwealth. They're also very common throughout the country as inflation and I mean, I don't have to, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know why things are expensive and why budgets are tight. So even in my hometown in San Antonio, Texas, the school district that I graduated from has an Ed Foundation now. It's just another way, I shouldn't say just, it is another way to funnel funds to our schools. It is not meant to supplant any other efforts. It's not meant to overshadow any other efforts. It's simply to be another way for our community to get involved and to support our schools in a time of need, and hopefully beyond that. I want to remind everybody that the First Ed Foundation was established by Brookline. So Dr. Fortuna has a lot of experience working with ed foundations. We had a lovely discussion, and as I'm sure the committee members know, I really appreciate your optimism and positivity. It's something that I even notice in the relationship between the schools and the town leadership, the select board. You've brought a lot of positivity, and so thank you for that. And that's really what this effort is about. LEAF is about trying to do something positive. It's given me personally a way to funnel activism into a project that's really about bringing people together and being positive and optimistic. So we have done a lot of work. It's taken a year because paperwork, bureaucracy, and volunteer time. So I'm happy to say we have a bank account, we have a functioning website, leafmat.org, leafma.org. That's fully functional. We can accept online donations, and it works. We've tested it out. We've had a significant donation from a business in town that's allowed us to send out our first mailer, which you may have received. We're calling this a soft launch, so this is informational, letting people in our town know that this is a thing, and that this is something that they can share with others. And so far, it's been really positive. We've got positive feedback and some inquiries about how people can help who weren't already engaged with the school. So I can say firsthand, even just today, I've talked to somebody who is very active in the community but wasn't previously active with the schools or financially supporting the schools, who's interested in doing so now. So again, just another pathway for people. So I'm here to encourage everyone to check out the website, to talk to folks. Laura is our... Thanks, Tony.
Website. It's a very good website.
Yes, shout out to Gia Moretto for building that website from scratch. And to the folks at Pixelated next door who have offered their time and expertise to help us navigate some truly bizarre technical issues. And Laura has been our liaison and will continue to serve as our liaison so that we are in constant communication with representation here and Dr. Fortuna, of course. Our plan is to fundraise until the end of this academic year and then open the grant cycle up for applications. The grant is live on the website. It's available for everyone to see. It's been approved by Dr. Fortuna. I welcome feedback. Our board voted on it, and we believe that it offers a really good framework for accepting this first round of applications from teachers. When we get closer to the end of the year, we'll have a more concerted effort to really educate educators about what this is and how we can help. We'll have a better idea of how much money we have, too, and how many grants, large and small, we might be able to offer. So that's the trajectory that we're on. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of things. I myself am not a business person, so I've learned a lot about what entrepreneurs must have to teach themselves or learn in the process. So I'm always open to help and recommendations of boxes we might need to tick that we haven't yet. And I brought flyers today that you might want to take home or share in any way. We're working on reaching out to large corporations and setting up one-on-one meetings. That's something that other ed foundations in the region, particularly my contact in Brookline, said worked much better for them in having meetings instead of just cold calling or emailing people asking for donations. We really want to build relationships. So we're starting that. And one last thing I want to say I included on this flyer is just example projects. I think that's gotten lost a little bit in my pitches, my elevator pitches of late is I'm really focused on the mission and sort of what we've done and the check boxes and all that. But some of the projects that we're hoping to fund are things like weather recorders and ukuleles, and maybe someday we'll be able to sponsor scholarships to international trips. Who knows? So we want to just open it up and be really optimistic. The Ed Foundation, so Brookline's the oldest. It was actually founded, big surprise, the same year that Prop 2.5 passed. They were more prescient than others about the need. And they now have multiple funds that fund teacher trips and professional development. They fund computer supplies only. There's a fund for computer supplies. It's just bananas. So the world is our oyster. I hope that we can offer our teachers and students a little bit more. Do y'all have any questions for me?
You need a lawyer on your board.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying me. I'm not a lawyer in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
But you need to
We
find
got all the connections.
yeah, you need to find a lawyer that can help you with like the paperwork stuff.
Yeah, we had a volunteer, a contact who helped us do our filing with the state, and because they were pro bono, it took months, and so yes, the hope is if we need to file paperwork in the future, which we shouldn't have to do anything that onerous. I do have to make reports to the IRS about how much we fundraise and things like that, so money in and out. But that's stuff that we can do as a foundation. We shouldn't need any legal representation.
So one thing that I would just point out is
Yeah.
that there is no ethical obligation to do pro bono work, but a lot of legal firms obligate their associates and members and shareholders to
Yep.
do legal work. And so it might be worthwhile for somebody to contact the Massachusetts Board of Bar Overseers.
Okay.
And say, like, we have a homegrown, homespun opportunity for pro bono work, and it would help connect you to people in the community.
Do you have an idea of what we might be asking them to do?
What I would have them, I would either have them look for one of two things. Have people that have experience with the legal stuff around philanthropy, or have experience with the legal stuff around nonprofits.
Yep.
And there are lawyers that specialize in just those
Yeah.
things. But,
That'd be good. Yes.
I think that a lot of lawyers need to find some pro bono opportunities.
I just made our gift acknowledgement letter, which is a thank you letter, but also serves as a tax receipt if people want to file a deduction. And so that's
Yeah.
what I would have them look at,
Yeah.
documents like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
But like a young associate at a big firm that does municipal law, that would be
Yeah.
really good.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
it would help with a lot of the stuff that is just like
Yep.
baloney, but you have to do it.
Right, we have to do it. I've learned a lot.
Thank you.
We're
Yeah.
really grateful.
All of this effort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so far so good. I mean, it's going well. It's just a lot slower than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah, that's how things
Yeah,
work.
you know. But so again, the timeline is we're open to donations now, which is why we're back and talking to people, which is why we sent an informational mailer to the community. So it's this soft launch. And then at the end of the school year, we'll come to educators and say, we're ready to accept applications. We're going to review them over the summer. Dr. Fortuno is very wise in recommending that we offer the grants to start next academic year in the fall, so that if there's attrition or whatever circumstances change, if someone is granted funds and they leave or circumstances change, they're assigned a different curriculum, something, whatever, that we don't have to do a lot of flip-flopping on grant assignments, so that those will be set for the fall.
Does anybody have any questions? All right.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you for your
you.
efforts. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
You said
I'll just leave these on the table.
All right.
Thanks, Sybil.
All right, we are on to the FY27 budget discussion. So these are non-action items. Before we get started, I'd just like to say, I think both you and Chris did an excellent job at the tri-board meeting. I also was incredibly proud of all of the board members, the committee members who jumped in to like contextualize and help. I think that I was really nervous about how that would go, and I think that it went so well that we basically had no, I mean, we had lots of feedback, but no one was like, this is crazy. And I thought that was great. I also wanted to just point out something about, Chris, your presentation. There was a point at which you were asked a question, and your answer was so precise, so quick, and clearly without any notes, that everyone in the room took notice of how good you are with the data. And I can't tell you how happy I was to see that, and I also can't tell you how much that helped with our credibility. Getting the money we need after the stuff that happened last year is going to be a human's task, but you've made it easier because of how diligent and smart you are. So I just wanted to say thank you very much. So,
Yeah, so can we talk a little bit about next steps just with the tri-board? So this is my understanding, but I thought we should just discuss this a little bit. So next week we have a meeting, and Jen and I chatted a little bit offline, like walking out of the last meeting, and she said we're going to talk about revenue next week, right? So I think that's going to be interesting, kind of a picture of the revenue situation of the town, and then hopefully beginning of January with them, sort of talk about whether, I mean, I'm going to say the word override because it looks like we're going to need an override to fund this. We aren't there yet. We haven't made all those final determinations yet, but, you know, we've been through the process. And so my understanding is that we are then going to discuss sort of numbers, what would be in and out at the beginning of January. Is that the chair's understanding and Dr. Fortuna? Okay. So that's just for the public to know as well, because I think we're really been through, every department has presented their budget for the next 2 or 3, few years. I think one question we should be ready to answer is the presentation you did was really good, but it really did focus on next year, right? Didn't focus on 3 years. So that is something the town has sort of been, so there's been some discussion last year before all of this, right? That if we went for an override, would we try to get an override that would be, and maybe that was just me saying that, but, that would last for a few years.
I think that was the idea.
Right. So, so I just think as a group, we need to think about that, because obviously those are numbers that aren't going to be able to, you can't pull those numbers out of thin air. Like, you can only estimate after next year. right?
We're prepared to do that.
Oh.
Our principal submitted
A 3-year.
a 3-year plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's important to stress that even the number given for next year's school budget does not add in all of the positions that were cut last year.
So that's
That's our
where,
3-year strategy.
right, that's the 3-year strategy, right? So I think as a board, we need to think about this, and we don't have to decide today, but I think we should all be thinking about, like, when we go to this meeting next week, we talk about revenue, and then when we go to our meeting next month, in January, and talk about what we think should be in and out, right? I mean, it's always a balance of how much money, we need and how much we think the town will support, right? And what's going to be included in that. And then also, there's a few towns have done different things. They've done tiering systems. They've done more than one override on the same ballot so that you can vote for different combinations, right? So I think that's all stuff that has to be worked out. Okay.
And that's exactly the purpose of the tri-board.
Yeah, exactly. It just feels like the tri-board so far, while interesting, has not been a lot of discussion. It's been a lot of presenting.
we had good
I
discussion.
thought that last time
We had pretty good discussion last time.
Yeah.
I think that was the best discussion, most discussion like
Yes.
we
I guess
did.
what I'm saying more is decisions.
Oh,
Yeah,
voting. Yeah,
decisions
we
were
have not
not-
taken.
We have not made any decisions, which
But we're
that's
not-
really.
We're almost there. Like, we had to present our numbers, and then we need to talk about revenue. But I think we're getting there. The process is
Yep, and I agree, but I'm always going to be the contrarian on the board who's like pushing, right, for more money, more time, like, and everyone has been wonderful partners, but eventually we haven't really had to go at each other yet. So, right, not that we're going to go at each other, but just like we haven't really come down to the end, right?
No, we haven't. But I want to be mindful of how we approach this budget.
Yep.
My approach I feel, has been strong in
Yep.
stating what we need and what we absolutely cannot tolerate as a system. I think.
Which I greatly appreciate. You were very clear, and that is so much appreciated. I don't want to overstate, I don't think I can overstate how much I appreciate that.
I want, though, us to be mindful that partially because of everything that happened last year,
Yep.
partially because of the way I lead,
Yep.
political capital is something that we need to consider in this race.
Yep.
And because it's going to be a race. Starting in January, we're going to be doing the downhill ski races.
Well, right, yeah.
And I think acknowledging, and this is the value I think that I know in listening to everybody's presentation, is we know the pain points that the town has.
Yes.
And I believe that through this tri-board approach, that we will be able to do what's best for the town without setting up factions against each other. I think this is going to feel like a different budget year and a different budget approach while still getting our needs met.
And I appreciate that. And I don't want anyone to watch this meeting and think I want to fight with people, because I do not. I did enough of that the last few years. But I just want to make sure that we are, and I, again, think we've done everything we can. But the last few years, there was a lot of, you waited too long, it's too late to talk about this, you're not organized enough, which I don't think we're going to. But you got to understand, I'm always going to live in that fear.
Of course. This year.
Right? You
Different
understand what I'm
town-
saying?
It's different town managers,
Yeah.
different finance people. We have a new finance person. We have a very capable finance person, and we have Dr. Fortuna. So I think that, I don't want to go into it with our preconceived notions from years past, because it is an entire new slate of people who have a very good working relationship that I'm very happy to see, and a good partnership. So I do feel like the last meeting's
Yeah.
conversations were good, because it was a lot of information sharing. I'm learning a lot about how the town runs, and I do think that if there is an O-word override, that it's
There are
not
needs
just,
everywhere.
it's not just school, it's apparent that there are needs everywhere, and because of Proposition 2.5, the town has been trying to do so much with less and less every year. But,
Yes,
so
I
when will we
appreciate
get-
that. And I don't mean to be a nervous Nelly. I
can understand
I just
the
have to
trauma.
get that out there. I'm a little bit traumatized.
When will we get year two and the more comprehensive plan now that the principals have?
The 17th at our budget workshop.
Okay.
Okay, that's,
Great.
okay, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And really thrilled you have that. That is fantastic. Will we be talking about our revenue at the tri-board meeting? Because that's a more complicated.
We will be prepared to talk, because I think Chris, I'm going to say finally, it's not Chris finally, I think the district finally has a handle on revolving funds and grant funds right now. So I think we will be able to have that discussion in a more cognizant way. We know, like Liz could tell you right now, how much money we are taking in from bus fees. Shanina can tell you our athletic fees. So we can gather that data fairly easily, because we've been working so hard to get our house in order. Matter of fact, we're going hopefully to go through a brief grant, entitlement grant update with you tonight.
A good one?
No.
Is there ever good news?
Emily, do you have any budget-related thoughts?
Nope.
George, do you have any budget-related thoughts?
Not at the moment, no. But I'm
So I
brewing.
I just want to put this out there, and I said this at the tri-board meeting, I've said this at many meetings in the past, I will say it again. I am concerned about the idea of hiring a full-time athletic director. I think that if we look back at what we have done in the past, this has not been a perennial cost to the school. I think that it would be possible, for example, to make a more natural fit between jobs and say a full-time person that does athletic director work and athletic trainer work with the support of a secretary. I think if that sort of setup where it's one FTE for two jobs is something that's more tenable in a town our size. That for a whole host of reasons, I think that that is a better fit for us. But I am also concerned about the idea that there is somebody in the school district who is making as much money as a full-time athletic director would, who is not engaging in direct student support. They're supporting the people who support the people, or support the people who talk to the students. So it's an administrator, and it's an administrator that serves only a quarter of the students. You know, like the statistic that we were told for a long time was half of Lunenburg students participate in athletics. And that is true, but misleading because less than half of the students are eligible to participate in those athletics. So none of the kids in primary school benefit from the athletic director. None of the kids in Turkey Hill benefit from the athletic director. The kids, a very small slice of kids in the middle school benefit from the athletic director. And then all of the high school is eligible to be benefited by the athletic director. So we have a very, very expensive position that is servicing a very small number of students because it's a half of a quarter, essentially. And I think that given what we know about our finances, and I think given what was said at the tri-board meeting, that is an easy place where we can move things around and make sure that we keep the level of services that we have, but at the same time, save a little money. I just think that like this is a really hard pill to swallow, and short of, you know, some other funding source, I just, you know, I'm not sure it's something that has real value. And I think that combining the two positions of trainer and athletic director will give us a lot of what we need. I think that our experience over the last couple of years has shown that the athletic director does real and important work in certain places, like organizing schedules and dealing with the MIAA. And they also do real work in sort of supporting the coaches. But I think that, you know, I just don't see that as being something that's a full-time job. And I would really like to put Ms. Burns back into the position of being a full-time assistant principal.
Can I ask about, and I felt like we never really did or I never heard last year about the trainer, the full-time trainer, that assessment on that. You know, when I was a kid, which was in the Stone Ages, we didn't have a trainer here. I've heard many parents talk about the trainer, how wonderful the trainer is. I have nothing against the trainer, but most people should have medical insurance and they should be going to see in my opinion, they should be seeing their doctor or seeing their PT or their OT or whoever it is on their medical insurance. So I was told that the trainer does a lot of work at games, like has to be there at games. So
That is true.
maybe Dr. Fortuna could give us it doesn't have to be on the spot, in 2 weeks, a discussion of like what it would actually save us to cut the trainer.
Yeah, we can't cut the trainer.
Right.
Because it's actually a requirement that we have one.
Okay.
So
That's a state requirement.
An MIAA.
It's an MIAA requirement that we have one. So we can't cut the trainer. And so we can discuss the amount of work, you know, that each position holds. I think it's important for us to have a full discussion of this, and I also feel it's important that we hear from Ms. Burns, her experience this year.
Yes.
Because I truly believe that she is approaching this position in a way that is very different from how it's been approached in the past based on what I'm seeing as outcomes. And so I think that we need to hear from her before we make any decisions. We also need to, Tony has taught me to do my research. We need to research what's happening in the towns around us and where there are halftime athletic directors. Are they truly halftime athletic directors, or are they being pulled from their other duties, much as what's happening with Shanina this year? But I think it's definitely a discussion that we should have.
Would you be prepared to have that discussion in 2 weeks? Because I think we should settle this before budget.
It should be part of our budget workshop. It's actually one of the reasons I pulled the winter sports report for this evening, because I wanted to discuss this idea of having you hear from Shanina, the amount of work that she's doing and how it's not sustainable for her to continue, or anybody, to continue to do both positions.
Yeah, I mean, Tony knows that I don't necessarily agree with him, but I do understand we should talk about it,
Yes.
right? And I believe that Ms. Burns is doing everything she can in 2 very difficult jobs, so I do not want her to have to continue to do that.
But I think she'd have very good insight
Yes.
into what the time commitment is.
She'd have better insight than any of us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can talk about that next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but our next meeting's a budget workshop, so it's all budget all the time.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk to us about the grants, I guess, then?
Yeah.
That's what we're...
So I'll tell you what you're looking at in your folder for tonight. What we have done is, I'm actually kind of proud of these.
This is very comprehensive. Is this you or Chris?
This is me.
Okay.
Nice job.
Very comprehensive.
Chris is awesome, and Chris checks my work. So what you have in your folder in the federal entitlement grant analysis and in the folder called FY27 budget book pieces, because this is something that the town is asking for, and I've told you that we're going to put together a budget book. This will be part of our budget book as well. So you have a narrative and a visual for each grant here for the past 3 years. And the reason that it's only for the past 3 years, I would have preferred to have gone back 5, is the state changed its grant management system 3 years ago. And quite honestly, I don't have access to what happened beyond 3 years ago, because the system's changed and the other one is now decrepit and
This is
accessing is
GEMS,
difficult.
right?
Yes,
GEMS is awful.
yes.
It
But
is
that's where I got this data.
awful. Yes. So like, I just want to back you up and say, having looked at this for a couple of years now, GEMS is indecipherable gibberish.
Thank you. As I was fighting to complete a grant application
awful.
last night, I was quite agreeing with you. So our year-over-year trend analysis for Title I shows us that we had a massive surge in FY25, which I also find interesting given the amount of money that we return to the town. Correlation doesn't equal causation, but I found that this was really interesting, that we had a $47,000 increase over our baseline that was established the year before. Now, unfortunately, the good times didn't last, and it was knocked down than our $910 lower than our baseline was 3 years ago.
Can you do me one favor?
Yeah.
Can you just explain in general what a Title I grant is?
Oh, our Title I grant is our grant that we get based on the census data. That grant is to help us fund programs for students that may be underserved because of low socioeconomic status. That's what our funding is based on. It's a trailing grant, so it means that they're always using the data from the year before, in order to give you this year's allocations. So it's behind, which is hard.
This is a federal grant.
This is a federal
So
grant.
the attack on the Department of Education on a federal level is part and parcel to the ability to generate these grants.
We will get there once we get to the last of the 10 sheets. I'm not going to talk you through each of the 10 sheets, because you can read, but I do want to call out Title I specifically. When you think of the real valuable, we have a literal reduction in the amount of dollars that we receive for Title I, but the inflationary pressure, when combined with 2 years of cumulative inflation estimated at 4 to 6%, the real purchasing power of the Title I grant is significantly lower than it was in FY24. So the conclusion and recommendations is for FY27 planning, it's imperative to use the conservative baseline of $210,000. Do not average the 3 years, as the FY25 outlier skews the data upwards. Avoid committing Title I funds to permanent salary. We are working, we have some salary items on the grant now. We're actually working to remove those, and we've included them in the general budget for FY27 because of the instability of this. When we have years like 25, that's when we should use the money for one-time purchases. That's how we have to think of this grant. Are we going to buy a curriculum for acceleration? Are we going to use it to put a program into place? We don't want to create a reoccurring fiscal cliff. I must be getting passionate, I'm getting mic feedback. With funding dropping below the FY24 levels, an immediate review is needed to determine if general fund money must now subsidize programs previously fully covered by Title I. I can tell you that, yes, it does. Thank you. So then if you go to document number 2 in this folder, just so I can orient you to what they are.
Love a good graph.
I actually put this in just for you. So if you look at the funding and the cost to maintain the grant, you'll see that we were right there, obviously, in FY24. We far exceeded it in FY25, and we're under it in FY26.
Yeah, FY26 was less than it was in FY24.
Correct.
And only by a little bit.
Yeah, only by about $900.
Can I ask-
But the inflationary pressures make that money worth a lot less.
Correct.
Can I ask you like a general education question? So in researching Title I for various purposes, it has seemed to me that over the last 20 years, but from 24 until now, the Title I, while the purchasing power, the real value, has waxed and waned based on inflation, the trend over the last 20 years until 2024 has been that Title I has gone up on a pretty reliable and consistent basis. And that the decline in dollars awarded, not purchasing power, but dollars awarded, is an extreme anomaly. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. I believe it varies by where you are.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for us. I meant like as a general rule for the country.
As a general rule for the country, the funds committed to Title I have increased.
Okay. So the fact that they're going down
Yes.
is not something that we have a history of ever seeing.
Correct.
Okay.
And for people listening, the amounts are like 200K, which is about 1% of our budget.
So what we need to do, and we will do, is we're going to treat FY25 as an outlier, which we're kind of doing with our whole budget. And we're going to budget on the $210,000 baseline as we create our budget and our revenue sources. And we're going to try to avoid recurring expenses. because we've seen this volatility over the past 3 years. The course correction, I'm calling it a course correction because it went down so close to the FY24 level, and the overall rate of inflation. So,
Do you think we can count on that money?
no. So I'm going to let you go through our other grants. Title II is a grant that's basically used for professional development. So the vast majority of our professional development are our Title II grants.
Is that it's intended for professional development?
It is intended. It's the only thing you can use it for.
Okay.
You have to write it for professional development. We experienced an 8% reduction in PD resources in FY25, and we've lost $2,846 in funding year over year. Our FY26 saw growth. It was not enough to offset the loss from the previous year. So since this grant is not used for personnel salaries, every dollar directly impacts the quantity of training services available, consultants, conference fees, travel, and the direct reduction of $1,200 represents fewer workshops or fewer staff members that we can send to conferences. And the cost of professional development providers has increased substantially since FY24. So a reduced budget combined with higher service costs creates a scissor effect, significantly shrinking the actual volume of professional learning the district can afford compared to 3 years ago. So our recommendation is to make a strategic shift to a train-the-trainer model and use a conservative estimate of about $35,000, assuming a return to approximately the FY24 levels. And with lower purchasing power, our PD plan needs to be, and Kimberly is already on this, needs to be strategic and aligned to our strategic priorities, which you can see happening in our whole budget. The same is going to follow with our grant budget. The Title IV grant is used for this one's kind of a swing one. You can fold it into Title I if you want to. It's not a lot of money for us, but it's been net positive this is our one grant that's been net positive. And it can be used for student support, academic enrichment, and technology. That's the 3 purposes you can use this grant for, which is why it can be folded into the Title I grant, because that also has academic enrichment, student support, and technology, and that can be written into it. It's only about a $15,000 grant. It's not a substantial amount of money. But it is our most stable fund. It's insufficient for hiring people, so we obviously don't put salary on this grant. And it works best for menu-based support where items can be added or removed annually based on where the exact allocation is. So we're going to budget using a baseline of $14,600, and we're going to continue to use it for targeted scalable purchases each year. And we're going to prioritize high-impact, low-recurring items such as social-emotional learning resources or one-time technology upgrades that align with the Safe and Healthy Students mandate of the grant. So that is Title IV.
This isn't even 1/10 of a
No.
percent of our budget.
No, it's a very, very small piece.
I mean, I'm very happy we're going over it and including all the grants. It's just these are,
Yeah. Our biggest federal grant is our 240 and 260 grants, which are special education grants. You can see that these have remained very steady over the 3-year period. That leads to predictability for Juliana when she does her budget. Her grant is probably the easiest to budget for. This year, what's included on the grants is we actually moved personnel off, so the retirement wouldn't be charged to the grant, and we're using it for out-of-district tuitions.
Is there any hint that the decimation of the Department of Education on the federal level will change this grant?
It's more undecided with this grant, Tony, that because they haven't found a place to move it yet, I don't know what's going to happen with it. But if you go to document 10, I like the verbal better, 9 is the
Disperses
budget.
these grants? Is it the Department of Education that disperses them, or is it?
It's the state via the federal.
Okay.
So right now, even before addressing potential changes at the federal Department of Ed, our federal entitlement grants are already in a state of stagnation, right? We're already there. We have less buying power with them. When adjusted for standard inflation, cost of living adjustments, step increases, supply costs, the district has lost approximately $17,000 in purchasing power over the last 2 years because of our grants. Now, this federal restructuring scenario, funds may be moved to other agencies, which we know that this is having, dissolving the Department of Education and moving grants to Treasury or state block grants. This is a known proposal currently in political discourse. A block grant, so currently our grants are categorical. Title I must be used for poverty intervention. Title II must be used for PD. Title IV must be used for intervention technology, safe and supportive environments. If the Department of Education is dissolved, which it will be, these are often converted to block grants to give to the state. Now, this could be a win. The positive side of this is Massachusetts believes in all the things that this grant is supporting. We live in Massachusetts. The downside of this is what's happening on the political landscape, where states that are further behind than Massachusetts academically have been getting a larger share of the funds. And they're going to a lot of the southern states. They're getting more funds. So if the restructuring occurs, our forecasting is going to change from stable to high risk declining. And the reasons is we're going to lose the maintenance of effort. So categorical grants legally require the federal government to maintain funding levels. Block grants do not have these protections, making them easier to freeze or cut in future budget cycles at the federal level. So the federal level may not give us the block grant to distribute to our schools. If the money goes to the state as a lump sum, and this is actually where my largest concern with this lies, the state legislature may rewrite the formula for how they're distributed. We compete against other districts for a general pot of money rather than receiving a guaranteed entitlement based on our census poverty data. And we know with everything that's broken with the Chapter 70 funding formula, likely any funding formula that's developed for a block grant would have the same fatal flaws built into it that the Chapter 70 funding has, which is very detrimental to communities like ours, not a large city location, not an extremely rural, a middle-class town. So we are at risk there. I just wanted to make the impact, right? Currently, $260,000 could support approximately 2.5 to 3.5 full-time equivalent employees. We don't have that many currently on the grant because we strategically started moving them off this year, and they will all be off next year. But when you think of our purchasing power being reduced by 3.5 into 2.5 employees, and the fact that we cannot, again, I can't say this enough, we cannot risk losing one more employee in this district. We cannot. And deliver a quality education to students. We are operating on the bare bones. It will have a medium impact on professional development. Title II is our primary PD engine. General aid is rarely prioritized for PD. States often prioritize hard cost operations over soft costs like training. The PD budget could evaporate entirely if not ring-fenced. So one of the things we're going to have to look at is what we are allocating for PD next year and make sure that we have an amount that we're fencing in our budget for that. And we'll talk about that next week.
Are these mitigation strategies in the budget presented that we talked about at the
Yes.
tri-board meeting?
Yes. So the compliance and administration, basically, we're going to have short-term chaos. And we have to be ready for that. Dissolving the U.S. Department of Education does not eliminate the bureaucracy, it just shifts it. It shifts it to the state. So I would expect 12 to 24 months of administrative confusion as DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, attempts to interpret the new guidance from the Treasury or DOJ. This leads to delayed approvals for cash flow interventions and cash flow interruptions. So our forecast assumption, we're assuming 0% growth and a 5% real value cut for FY27. We're going to stop hiring new personnel, and it's basically the Title I budget. I listed all of them here. Treat these grants as fundings for supplies, technology, and stipends, expenses that can be cut instantly if the grant disappears, rather than salaries, which involve people and contracts. Monitor state-level discussions. This is where, Mandy, your advocacy and the advocacy of the committee and the community is going to be really important. Monitor what's happening on Beacon Hill. If federal funds move to the state, the battle for fair distribution moves to Beacon Hill. It moves out of the federal government. And that is where we really need to be waging a battle. It's not, our problem isn't with the town, it's really with the state and the funding formula. So those are my strategic recommendations for FY27. We are putting them in place now. I think our largest salary on the grant is included in our FY27 personnel budget. And then you can see, really, it's risky. So we need to reduce our reliance on federal entitlements for essential personnel. That's the big message that we're getting from this. So any questions about any of this?
I have no non-snarky questions.
That's, yeah.
Like, I could ask you, can we educate children in a ballroom? Can we educate children in a sixth-generation fighter that no one needs or asked for? But I'm not.
I
gonna
have
answer those
questions, but they're not ones you can answer.
Mm-hmm.
You've answered all the preemptive ones here. I am very nervous if this becomes a Beacon Hill fight after.
This will become a Beacon Hill fight.
So one thing I would like to say about that, I think, is I believe Lunenburg has no home in the current structure of lobbying and advocacy at the state level. For those of you not as familiar, there's the large cities, they have a voice. There's the regional schools, they have a voice. There's actually the Rural School Coalition, they have a voice. We do not fit into any of those categories. So I would love to spend some time offline with you, Dr. Fortuna, because I think it's imperative that we find school districts that are similar to us and we band together and start having some ideas about what this kind of stuff means for us. Because right now, we don't really have a place to go. And I have not found the Schools Committee Association very helpful.
Shocker.
I read them 3 emails to join their board, their political organization, and I have not heard back from them. So that's what we got from that. And I mean, I'm sure there are other superintendents out there, right, who maybe you could help me just point me in the right direction of a few different towns, because I think we need to be a voice that's not,
I can definitely do that.
yeah.
I wholeheartly agree. I think we need to start, and you and I had talked about this
Yes.
last year, but it was not.
It was like a little
something
bit
that we
under,
got
yeah.
done because it's difficult to have discussions when it's all the school committee people coming together. But I think it might behoove us to start something not like MASC, but an advocacy group of non-specials.
Yeah, I don't know what we would call ourselves, but-
Non-regional, or just suburban school districts.
Right.
who are like us, there's not a lot.
Middle-class
like
school
us.
districts? I think that's what it is.
We're in a very strange situation where we were not a hold harmless community, but we were at the minimum. We were in a really strange place that no one else was. We
Yes.
fall into a weird basket where we are too rich for help, too poor to help ourselves, too small to matter, and too big to be considered rural. And I was nervous about that at the State House where everyone was saying, don't forget the regionals, don't
Yeah.
forget the rural, and they did.
Yeah.
That was the rural.
Well, and the thing
But
is,
we're none of those things. We're our own little, very middle island.
yeah, and people will say to us, I know when, whatever budget discussion we have in the next, and not just other electeds, the public will say to us, well, you should have regionalized. Regional schools have it worse than we do. So that was not the answer. Their funding is also terrible.
And
So
also-
it's not, that
We're
would
not
not
going to
have,
punish kids today.
that would not have saved us,
within-
right? I mean, in this situation.
It would not have.
That would not have saved us. So, and I think maybe using your voice, if you can help connect us, might help get some other school committee members. in.
Is that a school committee action we can take because last year I was told it was something we'd have to do as a committee if it was one of us speaking as a school committee, reaching out to school committee members, Johnny?
I think we designated Mandy to be able to do that.
Yeah, can we start?
Yeah, I mean,
I think we need to
I
reach
just
out
think-
to other school committee members.
And I'll reach out to some superintendents
Yeah,
and
so I think maybe we
introduce you.
sit down and make a list of the communities that would match us. Then hopefully Dr. Fortuna can help connect with some of the school committee members in the school. I mean, it would be great if we had a name and we had a letter we could present. Following our,
Just not going with not specials.
following this forum 2 weeks ago, I had some ideas as well I've been proposing to that group. I actually think, this is kind of my wacky idea, maybe Sybil could help me with this, but I think we should make a video of kids talking about their education in towns like this for the governor, before the governor releases her budget, because that child who spoke at the forum 2 weeks ago was excellent. So my idea was like, one of those videos that's like, Dear Governor Healy, my school is failing. And if we could get all these kids to say it and kind of cut it together, which I think kids these days, my niece made us a video for the last they can cut video
Yeah, sure.
pretty easily. Anyways, I think we need to do some of that stuff.
People up there care.
If you don't ask, you don't know whether they care.
If we put them in front of them constantly and we put them in the elevators,
Plan a
we
trip to the
put
State
them
House.
everywhere.
Can we just plan?
I mean, once we have those
State
vans.
House on legislative days and just accidentally keep running into.
Right, what about those
Yeah.
vans? We could take the vans.
We could take the vans. I'm thinking Warren Stevenson's class
Yes.
would love this.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so I have some ideas, so I think that this is important.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I very much think that banding together is the way to go because when we go it alone, it's just not working for us.
And our legislators are trying. We have to continue to pound the pavement at
They're
them.
just one.
They're just
person
one
out of-
cog in a wheel,
Yeah.
right? And I believe that they know we're not going anywhere. But they are only one.
I do think that Cronin and Scarsdale have been really.
They've been
responsive.
very,
Convince them. We need to convince other people.
yes, I think they've been really quite good.
They have been.
And
I just see this as like the same problem that has played out for the last 40 years, which is as income inequality has increased, the middle class is paying the bill for everybody else. And that is what we are doing as a school district. That is what we are doing as a town. And the result is what Laura said. We are too rich for state aid and too poor to save ourselves. And that is fundamentally unfair.
Yes.
It is a broken promise to the people of America and the people of Massachusetts that if you work hard and you save your money and you're prudent, that things will work out.
are you running for president?
No, I'm sitting here listening
He's on a roll.
to the end of these entitlement grants when we're talking about spending $20 billion just to develop a sixth generation fighter or all sorts of other asinine things that the federal government is spending money on. And I just want to bring back the point that everybody knows, which is elections have consequences, and this is a consequence. We are destroying middle-class America to support a bunch of rich assholes. And I'm sorry for swearing, but I'm done. I cannot tolerate this anymore. Like,
we're swearing.
we gotta stop doing this.
Okay, it's 8:50. Can we
Sorry.
talk about Turkey
And you're
Hill?
swearing.
Oh, wait, before we move on to
Yeah.
Turkey Hill, I just have a couple of clarifications.
Yes.
One, there has not been a date set for the next tri-board meeting.
Oh.
We have one more presentation and then discussion.
Oh, it was on my calendar for
Oh, isn't it next Tuesday?
They,
Nope,
It got moved.
oh,
it got moved.
did we get,
So nothing on Tuesday.
so it's not on?
No, it's not on Tuesday.
What presentation are we missing?
I think we're missing Jen's for the town.
That's great.
Okay, so
Yeah.
is there a next tri-board meeting scheduled?
There is not yet.
Okay, if we could find that out, I can't do last minute.
Yep. I'll definitely work with Jen on that.
Yeah, I definitely have that in the calendar, but, okay.
I'll take it off my calendar. Great.
What else am I gonna do?
Okay.
And thank you to our viewers for bringing that to my attention.
Sorry for our viewers for swearing.
Or not.
All right, we can move.
Do we want to go to the Turkey Hill discussion, which I think is sort of tied up with the
Yeah, I think the Mass
SBA?
School Building Authority, right?
All right. So Dr. Fortuna, we had asked you to look into the viability of getting together a letter of intent for this year. Do you have any updates or feedback for us?
I believe we should definitely do a statement of intent. I don't think we can have a viable one that's competitive, ready for April.
Okay. Do we think we can do April of 27?
I do believe we can do April of 27.
Okay. For those, the audience and stuff, I did speak to a few members of the select board and the town manager on the way out of the tri-board meeting the other day, and they, not to publicly say, but, we discussed this, the MSBA, and they seemed positive in that direction, that is the way we should go. So,
I definitely think even for a renovation, so I told you I was going to reach out to a friend of mine who actually owes me a phone call, but I know he's not watching, to talk about it. And he reminded me of a 1963 build in Hudson that we went through 5 cycles with the MSBA. And with those 5 cycles where we got what we wanted.
Oh, okay.
And we were able to renovate it to a standard, and that building will keep humming along for another 50 years. So I don't want us to completely discount renovation, but either way, the MSBA should be a partner in doing this.
okay. So what can we do for you if the group decides, or Tony, do you not want to wait
He wants to wait. I don't want to wait.
for the MSBA?
Oh, no, I want to wait for the MSBA. I don't want to do it this year.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine.
That's the only thing that was my
No
word.
way we can do it by April.
There's no way we can do a competitive one by April.
Okay. I just,
Oh, Mass School Building Association, they help, they give money paired to school districts to rebuild buildings, and they have a
or build new.
complex list of criteria. There are 2 different buckets to pull from. One is sort of rebuild or build new, and then the other is targeted systems within school district buildings. The issue is the grant process is complex, and the priorities for awarding grants changes every year. So some years they favor green buildings, some years they favor buildings in rural districts. So it is a bureaucratic system designed by Franz Kafka's evil, more bureaucratic brother.
Mr. Chair is on a roll tonight.
And I do think actually it was created to take some of the politics out of school building money. I am not saying that that's
not
what happened,
result in that.
but that it used to be, right, Dr.
Oh, sure,
Fortuna?
sure.
And it is based on 1 cent of the sales tax goes to building new schools in Massachusetts. And if you make it through the gauntlet, you get at least 31% paid for by the state. If you don't go through the gauntlet, you pay for it 100% by yourself.
Yeah,
Right? I mean, that's,
yeah.
It's essentially free money.
I think my advice really about the MSBA is that it's a highly competitive process. And that just because we submit a grant every year, it doesn't mean we're going to be automatically pushed to the top of the pile, right? And so I want anything doing is worth doing well. And, you know, a microcosm of that is our capital plan. Our first presentation did not go well. Tonight's presentation, I feel, was much better and much more worthy of the standard that I want to present to the town. Could we? Yes, we could. Would it be quality? It absolutely would not. And that's why I don't advise us to do it.
If you say it won't be ready by April, then
Then let's,
there's nothing, there, yeah. It's
so,
just-
and let's plan for it though, right?
Right.
Like, let's not, in my opinion, I don't think we should, and this is the beginning of the conversation
Correct.
then, right? Like, how are we going to be ready in a year and a half, right? And the one thing it would be interesting for us to know from for me to know from our facilities director, right, is what costs over the next 5 to 10 years are we going to have if we aren't going to have a new building?
I
Or-
can tell you the cost over the next few years
We're gonna
of the
need-
things
we're
that are
need
going to
the water
happen.
Heater.
Do you have it memorized?
Well, because if we're not doing it this year, then I do think we need to we have been putting more money into Turkey Hill.
Yes.
A little bit. We've definitely been doing the necessary upgrades.
So what we are going to need for Turkey Hill, hold on, let me flick through these slides, is we're going to need, at the very least, new windows. We're going to need mini splits in the classrooms, similar to the project we just finished at primary school. We are going to need to replace all of the exterior doors to the building, not just the strategic ones that we've replaced. And we are going to have to look at accessibility issues with that building and start to address some of those.
Okay. And we're going to have to plan for that.
Yeah,
How much?
But we really are going to have to plan for that either way,
yes,
right? And the town may have some money to do some of that.
yes. It's all, the majority of that, except for the ADA piece, the accessibility piece. And I really want to thank Emily for reminding me about the difference between ADA compliance and accessibility. That was very valuable for me. Thank you. We want, except for the accessibility piece, all those pieces are included in our capital plan.
Yeah.
There was a lot in that ADA that to be done for the price that is there.
That 20 million or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes.
16 million.
I mean, it was a lot, and, you know, I was like, it's a lot of work for.
It is a lot of work.
That would put the school in a good spot, the building in a good spot.
It would put us
Maybe other
in,
things that, you know, obviously I don't know about, but.
yeah, I think, George, it would put us in an adequate spot. I think the windows, the doors are extremely important. I think the heat in that building, the mini split issue is really important because the heat is so variable in that building. You go across the hall, Chris is sweating in his office. You come into my office, I have the space heater going constantly. So I do think there's adequate things. That building is not programmed to be an elementary school. And there's learning that needs to occur now that's different than when I was in school. And it just, quite honestly, requires more square footage in order to make it happen. And we need to look at that, and we need to consider that. You know, again, I'm not sold either on a new build or a renovation. I think we need to explore both of
But we
those
want
things,
the MSBA support.
Correct.
Hopefully, we,
no matter which route we go.
Like free cash.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So if the accessibility issues are not in the capital plan for the next step, will it be something that gets on the docket soon?
It will be something that gets on the docket. I've been trying to minimize the Turkey Hill piece until we finished our discussions because I don't I don't want to make that, because it will be a huge part of our capital plan, and I don't want to necessarily make that the focal point of our capital plan if we are going the MSBA route, and we do decide that what extent of a remodel we want, or what extent of a new build that we want. But there are small projects like accessibility and bathrooms, which is a problem, and the number of bathrooms, the fact that we only have 2 student bathrooms in the building, and 2 adult bathrooms in the building is a problem. So those are some issues that we can address.
Yeah, I'm concerned that now it's going to be a year and a quarter until we submit the paperwork to beginning to talk about Turkey Hill. And we are years out from getting anything done, which means in the meantime, I think we should work on doing what we can with small and medium projects, especially with the accessibility, because that building has been inaccessible
For a long time.
for a very
Yeah.
long time, and we are failing the students who are there and who are coming in right now by just waiting.
I agree.
I think a lot of things were put off with hope that we would make a decision. I
I
think-
just don't know what the other
Can-
decision would be.
Can I just weigh in on something? One of the things that has held us up, so that the new committee members are aware, in doing the renovations, is that there is a rule in Massachusetts Building Codes for schools that talks about if you do a certain amount of renovation, you have to then become ADA compliant. And because that threshold was like millions of dollars difference, we had tried to figure out a way to save money and not do that. But I think that that's not a good plan. I think that we have to recognize the fact that like anything that we do should be aimed at making that building useful for 50 years, not how do we cheap out. And I want to make sure that like the town sees this as something that's happened before, where we have tried to save money in the present only to spend infinite more money in the future. Maybe not infinite, but like the costs of my first project on the school committee was to look at the viability of air conditioning being installed at the elementary school. And if you go back to the original plan for the elementary school, it called for a central AC unit. And at the time, I think it was something like $180,000 more money to install it. But they had built the envelope for that building designed for a central air handling unit. So they have smaller windows. Some of the windows are facing the sun, which they wouldn't have done had they known there would be no AC. When we went back later and installed the mini splits, I mean, I think it was ended up being like $7 million.
The original capital plan, the original capital money that was allocated to us was to install the air conditioning that should have been installed in the first place. And I think it was a couple hundred.
Yeah, it was like 180,000. But what I'm saying is like,
Came in at $7 million to retrofit it because
Yes.
the technology is no longer the
what
same.
I'm saying is that it is not just the right thing to do now. It is the right thing to do for the kids who are coming in this year, next year, 10 years from now. It is also the right thing to do for the town, because eventually they will have to make these expenditures, and it only gets more expensive in the future. So it is fiscally prudent to not think of this as like, how can we cheap out and avoid triggering this threshold? We need to make the building work, period.
It's actually the right thing to do like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That is right.
So, can I just ask about, I don't know enough about, maybe I need to ask Peter this question, right? But there is some capital ability at the town level.
Yes.
It does not require us
Correct.
to go to town meeting. Well, yes, you have to go to town meeting, but it's not a
Do you mean debt capacity?
debt capacity.
Yes.
Right? That does not require a debt exclusion? Mm-hmm. But that's not what the capital planning committee generally spends. They're spending the free cash every year.
Yes.
So where do we go to ask for that debt exclusion money that is available but is yet? The town manager.
I think so.
So is that,
Select board and town manager will.
I'm trying to think this through while sitting here, so
I'm
like,
not sure that's what we want to do right now.
No, because
but how are we going to,
the debt exclusion, so this is all part of the strategy that the tri-board meeting needs to develop.
Yeah.
The debt exclusion would compete with any possible override that we'd have to do.
Well, I think what Mandy is saying, that our town has a normal capacity for debt. and
Borrowing.
We are for borrowing, and we are far under that.
Yes.
So
It
the
does
town
not-
can borrow without a debt exclusion. And that historically, we haven't utilized that capital that we honestly, I think, should be using, but we can debate about that.
like, my understanding
So
is
she's
when
not
we
talking
buy a
about a
fire
debt
truck,
exclusion.
right, so when we buy a fire truck, this was how it was explained to me, you're not paying for the fire truck up front. There is capacity in the town's debt availability that does not require a debt exclusion vote.
We should talk about this at the tri-board.
Board meeting.
Yes,
This
this
is
is a
this,
great
like, this
topic
is
for
tri-board.
This will be a great
Okay, 'cause
discussion.
my understanding is, right, like, that the money that we're spending on this capital plan is the free cash. That's
That is
what
correct.
the capital committee every year looks at the free cash that's been certified, and then they spend that,
Up some of it.
Correct, some of it.
some of it, on capital
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, let's definitely bring that up at the tri-board.
Okay,
Because I think that needs to be
capacity for
part.
a smaller project that does some of this work, right? That's not a debt exclusion. I'm not talking about a vote.
Yeah, that needs to be an overall town strategy. So let's talk about it there. I think that's a great idea, guys.
Okay.
All right.
Do we waive our third read? Because we.
No, we have to do the third read. We only get to waive the second read. The third read is the one we vote.
All right.
And these are both 3 pages, and
I
they're
don't care.
really boring.
Where
They
are
are
our
incredibly
third read
boring.
policies?
In the legislature, you can vote not to read it out loud.
Well, they don't have to follow the rules they put on us.
All the unfunded mandate baloney.
okay,
Do we want to get on the soapbox
Don't-
again?
don't-
I just swore. I feel
Don't-
terrible for
Don't
swearing.
set Tony off again.
I know.
I want to hear him swear again.
Because they
I'm gonna get a
say
text
You can
message from-
dispense with the reading of the bill. And
I'm
everything.
I'm gonna get a text message from Carol about swearing.
Did you?
You're going to be.
I have in the past. Yeah.
All
There
right.
is nothing like Carol guilt to make you feel terrible.
Okay, who's reading what?
I will read the first one, the middle school pathway exploration policy.
Say Monty Tech that many times.
So, students and instruction, 5,000, instructional programs, 5,200, organization of instruction, 5,201, middle school pathways, 5,201.03. Middle school pathway exploration policy. Policy overview. The Lunenburg Public School District is committed to ensuring that all middle school students and their families are well informed about the wide range of high school educational options available to them, including career and technical education and vocational programs. In compliance with state regulation 603, Code of Massachusetts Regulation 4.00, and guidance from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, DESE. This policy outlines how our district provides students with awareness and exposure to CTE and vocational opportunities at local, regional, and agricultural public high schools. High school pathway options. The following CTE school is available to students. Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School at 1050 Westminster Street, Fitchburg, Massachusetts, 01420. This link identifies all of the current 23 vocational programs offered at Montechusett Vocational Technical School that may connect to students' secondary and post-secondary academic and career planning. Career exploration for middle school students. Lunenburg School District continues to partner with Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School in several ways to ensure that all students have a deep understanding of the educational options available to them. The district provides guidance classes to all grade 8 students where career paths and opportunities are discussed. This process guides students as they research high school pathways and make informed decisions about which school environment, whether traditional high school or a specialized CTE program or vocational program, best aligns with their emerging goals. The district's implementation of My Career and Academic Plan, MyCAP, starting in 2026, directly connects the exploration of CTE schools and programs to a student's broader academic and career goals. MyCap is a structured process that helps students explore their interests, skills, and values starting in middle school. This self-discovery process guides students as they research high school pathways and make informed decisions about which school environment, whether a traditional high school or a specialized CTE program or vocational program, best aligns with their emerging goals. The Lunenburg Middle School has a healthy and long-lasting relationship with Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School. LMS guidance and admissions counselors have consistent, effective communication and offer a variety of activities to introduce LMS students to the opportunities that Monty Tech provides. The LMS counselor attends an annual meeting at Monty Tech in order to gain new information regarding the admission process and programs offered. The LMS counselor is then able to relay this information to LMS students and parents. Information is sent sent out through the LMHS principal's weekly email. Grade 8 students attend Monty Tech Tour Day in early fall. The tour day is coordinated by LMS guidance counselor and Monty Tech admissions counselor. Tour day takes place during school hours, and Monty Tech provides busing to and from LMS. On tour day, students learn important information about the school and are able to see a number of vocational opportunities that are offered. The tour is made available to all 8th grade students interested. Students are also made aware of when Monty Tech is holding their open house, and this is another opportunity for students to tour the school. Monty Tech sends a representative twice annually to LMS during lunch for both 7th and 8th grade students and provides LMS students with information on the school and the application process. LMS students are provided the opportunity to participate in the Vocational Interest Program, VIP. VIP is a 4-week after-school program where students are provided transportation by Monty Tech and have the opportunity to try out 4 separate vocational shops over a period of several weeks. The following information outlines how Lunenburg Middle School will actively collaborate with Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School in order to inform students about the CTE vocational opportunities available to them. Information sharing.
Hey,
Annually,
shut the fuck up.
Lunenburg
Shut
will
the
provide
fuck up. Quiet
Montechusett
down,
Regional
quiet down.
Vocational
Shut the fuck
Technical
up.
School
Shut the
with
fuck
the
up.
names,
Shut the fuck up.
addresses,
Shut
and
the
email
fuck up.
addresses
Shut
of
the
all
fuck
its
up. Your hair
enrolled
is
6th,
gray, bro.
7th,
Shut
and
the
8th grade
fuck up.
students
Shut the
as
fuck
required
up.
by law.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Good boy. Good boy. Be quiet. Good ass boy. Good ass boy. All right, now I'm gonna be taking it from here.
Can we mute?
So we're shutting down the school.
the
Can you
Zoom?
shut your dumb ass up?
Anthony Sculverbrick.
On campus
Jason, I will call the
assemblies,
fucking
each
cops on
fall,
you guys.
all grade 8 students will have.
Call him then, buddy. Call him, buddy.
Put the meeting down? Okay.
Oh,
Like a fucking crime.
What was that?
Each fall, all grade 8 students will have the opportunity to attend assemblies on campus at the middle school and hosted by Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School. These events will provide students with information about CTE programs and the application process. School tours. Each fall, interested grade 8 students will have the opportunity to tour Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School. Transportation expenses will be covered by Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School. These tours will be scheduled during the school day and will be considered an excused absence, provided Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School confirms the student's participation in a tour. Online resources. By October 15th each year, Lunenburg District website will publish pertinent information about vocational school options, including links to admission applications, admissions policies, and open house informational events and assembly schedules, providing admissions records to Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School. Lunenburg Middle School will provide relevant information to Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School for students who have applied. This may include documentation of the students' attendance records and discipline records in accordance with the vocational school's approved admissions policy and DESE guidelines. Maintenance of records. Lunenburg Middle High School will maintain a record of all on-site presentations, assemblies, and student tours of Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School, along with other relevant information about collaboration between the district and Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School. These records will be made available to DESI upon request. So the committee is aware, this is something that's required by statute. We have no input on this. This is just like the most pro forma kind of policy. I think it's a wonderful plan and a wonderful program, but reading this kind of stuff is just awful. So I'm sorry. Does anybody have any edits or corrections that need to be made? Liz, has there been any feedback on this policy in any way, shape, or form?
Well, you just got.
Other than Mr. Wilcox swearing at me, has there been any other? Okay.
Do you want to vote on them together or one at a time?
Let's vote on them all together, just to
Okay.
save time, because it's 9:15.
Lunenburg competency determination, students in instruction 5,000, instructional program 5,200, competency determination 5204.01. Lunenburg competency determination, which, in order to receive a Lunenburg diploma, all students must meet the competency determination for coursework in addition to all local graduation requirements. The CD represents two accomplishments, showing a mastery of skills in English language arts, mathematics, science, and beginning with the graduating class of 2027, U.S. history. Lunenburg students will do this by satisfactorily completing a final assessment or a capstone or portfolio project, and the satisfactory completion of relevant coursework aligned to the standards measured by the high school English language arts, mathematics, and science MCAS, MCAS assessment administered in 2023. Lunenburg students will take NPAS and earn full credit for the following courses: English 9, English 10, Algebra 1 or Algebra 2, Geometry, Biology, U.S. History, beginning with the graduating class of 2027. As per the CD law, 10th grade standards represent a critical benchmark in students' academic development, ensuring they possess the foundational skills and the knowledge necessary to succeed in upper-level high school courses, post-secondary education, and the workforce. Students who do not meet the required accomplishments may enroll in approved summer school courses, credit recovery programs, and/or complete an educational proficiency plan, EPP, which includes additional coursework and assessments to ensure they reach the necessary competency levels for the CD. Meeting these requirements alongside earning sufficient course credits is essential for graduation. Considerations for students with disabilities and English language learners. Students with disabilities. Lunenburg Public Schools ensures that all students with disabilities, including those placed in out-of-district day or residential programs, have equal opportunity to meet Massachusetts competency determination and local graduation requirements. For in-district students, the IEP team annually reviews CD process beginning no later than age 14. Students receive specialized instruction aligned to state standards, MCAS, MCAS alt participation with accommodations as needed, assistive technology and individualized supports, transition planning and services starting at age 14, alternate ways to demonstrate competency when appropriate. For out-of-district students, LPS leads annual IEP reviews with the OED out-of-district provider, confirms curriculum alignment to state standards, monitors progress towards CD and local requirements, retains sole authority to award the CD and diploma, competency determination and diploma, ensures the MCAS all access and accommodations. IEPs document the projected graduation date and completion pathway. In rare cases, services may continue beyond meeting graduation requirements if FAPE free, what is it?
FAPE, free.
appropriate public
education.
The
Thank you.
appropriate public
Yes,
education has not yet been provided. LPS uses the IEP process to support timely, appropriate graduation decisions while ensuring compliance and equity for all learners. English learners. For each course required in the completion of coursework and mastery of skills, the standards measured by the high school English language arts, mathematics, and science MCAS assessments administered in 2023 have been outlined along with U.S. history. English learners' student work is aligned with the standards and is assessed at their WIDA.
WIDA. It's out of a university. It's I can't think
That
of
is
what the
okay,
acronym
it is
stands
very
for.
late. Their WIDA level. Opportunities are provided for multiple means of expression, learning. The district has available a list of accommodation strategies for teachers working with English learners. Considerations for late enrolling students. Transfer students to Lunenburg who enter after ninth grade will undergo a transcript review by the principal or designee to determine whether the coursework from the sending schools can be applied to the competency determination. If the review determines that the student has not met the competency determination, alternatives will be offered to provide an opportunity for the student to meet this requirement. Alternatives may include summer school, online coursework, mastery performance exams, or other alternatives deemed suitable by the principal or designee. Such alternatives may require additional time outside of the school day/year. The superintendent shall be the arbiter for all final decisions. Role of MCAS in limited circumstances. In the limited circumstance when we are unable to document a student's prior coursework from either contact with the prior school or from information provided by the student and/or parent guardians, we will allow for a student to earn the CD by attainment of a qualifying score of at least meeting expectations or exceeding expectations, achievement levels, or the relevant high school MCAS assessment, or student work that satisfies the same academic standard. Process for a student to appeal district's decision to award or deny a CD. If a student is dissatisfied with the district's decision to award or deny a CD, the following appeals process should take place. An appeal in writing will be addressed and sent to the high school principal, and within 10 days, and after a transcript review and/or other components in consultation with the central office administration, the principal will respond in writing and in a language the student can understand the rationale for the decision. The principal may also request a meeting with the student and parents' guardians. The superintendent shall be the arbiter for all final decisions. Process for a current or former student to request a transcript review. Eligible students in the classes of 2003 through 2024 who did not earn a diploma as a result of failing to meet the state's CD requirement have an opportunity to request a transcript review in order to determine their current eligibility for a diploma pursuant to the district's CD requirements. An eligible student is one who, 1, was previously enrolled in the district, and 2, previously met the criteria for a certificate of attainment, i.e. the student met local graduation requirements but did not receive a high school diploma because they did not earn a CD, and 3, was not previously reported as a graduate in any district student information management system submission. Any eligible student requesting a transcript review should, in writing, contact the high school principal. High school department leaders, along with the principal, shall determine if the transcript review meets the new CD requirements. Decisions will be communicated to the eligible student within 8 weeks of initial contact. The superintendent shall be the arbiter for all final decisions. Any student who has not previously met the criteria for a certificate of attainment indicating that they did not meet all local graduation requirements when they exited high school must meet the district's current CD requirements and local graduation requirements in order to earn a diploma. This requirement does not apply to students who have earned the competency determination prior to January 2025.
Can I just ask, Governor Healy announced some stuff this week about
Yep.
this? Does
No.
this? No?
What she announced this week were graduation requirements, not competency determination
Okay.
requirements.
I just wanted to make sure whatever we were doing didn't need.
No, and I will update you on those in our first January meeting, but it's going to be a fun and wild ride. Another unfunded mandate.
Is
there more to it?
Oh, yeah,
It's going to be another test.
except at the end of every course.
Every course?
Awesome.
Are you kidding me?
No,
It's a test at the end of every course.
yeah.
Oh, so the
It's
MTA,
more testing
That's
for-
why they're.
That's why they're
out.
flipping
Is
out.
this revenge for people voting to,
Of course it is.
I'm not gonna, okay. I'm gonna swear now. Okay,
No more swearing.
motion to approve,
It's not usually such a wild ride.
a motion to approve and make official the policies of middle school pathway exploration and the competency determination, which are respectively 5201.03 and 5204.01.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We move on to public comment from issues discussed tonight. Anyone is online? Because I think we cut that off.
We did cut that off.
Okay, anybody here?
Oh.
I just wanted to make a comment that I think if there were several people that were coming in at the end before you started reading the policies.
Yeah.
So if they were coming into the meeting to make a public comment, they can always email us at lps@lunenburgschools.net.
Well,
Perfect, thank you.
yeah, okay. This was third read, so.
Yeah, all right. Do we want to skip subcommittee reports because it's late?
We've skipped.
I just have one quick
we've
thing.
Skipped a lot of them.
Sure.
Tomorrow, Paxel has a Zoom meeting at 6 o'clock. You can
Okay.
find that link at the Facebook page for Parents Advisory Council supporting all learners.
PTO is having a SpongeBob movie, so if you want to see the new SpongeBob movie, we're selling tickets for that. And we're selling blankets, which are $30 a piece, and we've seen them in person, and they're really nice. They'll be here for Christmas. They're bright blue, and they say Lunenburg on them. And we only have 100 to sell. We've already sold a quarter of them, so if you want one,
Oh, interesting.
buy it.
And where would they buy it?
Oh, on the PTO website. It's also posted on our Facebook, and the schools have been wonderful about sharing all our stuff on the Facebook. Whoever's running the school's Facebook page is doing a awesome job.
Is it Liz?
No.
Anybody else, any other committee updates?
The Municipal Building Committee continues to meet.
Oh,
And we're continuing to talk about plans for town hall. And I think at this point, we've all just decided schools will not be included in the iteration of a town hall because it greatly simplifies the space issues and the kid issues. And that seems to align with what's working for us, even though Turkey Hill is not the perfect location. That seems like it's going to be best for everyone.
perfect.
So that's
All
where
right.
we are.
I think we have plenty of topics for future discussion.
Does
So,
anyone else have future?
anybody else want to add to that list?
I would like it if we could get a list of not ADA, but accessibility upgrades that Turkey Hill needs that are less expensive, so that we can get a more robust idea, a more well-formed idea of what kind of dollars we're talking about, and if we're going to break it down into a couple projects a year, or what's the most immediate. I know that's a big ask, so that probably wouldn't be able to happen until January, but I would like it if we could move in that direction.
Me too.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have anything else they want to put on for our future agenda? At this moment, I would look for a motion to adjourn at 9:27.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.